Okay, so today we are talking about how to stop second guessing yourself after divorce, why you second guess yourself, and what you need to really trust yourself again so that you can have healthy, fun relationships after divorce. So, I actually was talking with a good friend of mine this morning, and sometime back she had told me this story of a relationship that she'd had where the guy turned out to be like a stalker, that she'd spent years in legal issues like and restraining orders, and it was a really bad time in her life and a really bad relationship and everything. And we were talking this morning about so this had happened kind of a while back, and then this morning we're talking about being a stepmom and our triggers and all these things, and it kind of all came for full circle too around how the triggers really go back to our abandonment wounds. And let me give you an example, because she wouldn't have named this unless she had known me and, learned from me. She would not have called her relationship issues and her attachment issues abandonment wounds. So regardless of what you call it, but this is a really great example because I get this pushback a lot from people that I get, I had two loving parents. I don't have any abandonment wounds, Terry. I don't know what you mean. Well, she had two loving parents too, well taken care of, middle class household, blah, blah, blah. But, certain people of a certain generation, myself included, we had parents that were not particularly attuned to their children's emotional needs. Come on, in the 80s, they would put commercials on saying, do you know where your child is? Stop yelling at your kid. Be nice to your child. I mean, so our parents were not exactly equipped to meet our emotional needs. So let me give you an example with my friend who, one of the things she said, I had 8 brothers and sisters. I did not get enough attention. I did not feel like I was important. And she used a specific example even. She said, I remember bringing home a report card, and I don't remember which parent, my parent looked at it and said, huh, surprising you got an A. I mean, it's not like, not outward trauma, but that stuff leaves you like stinging as a child, that you really don't matter, that your parents really don't care about you. And so as adults, we grow up and we have these situations, like, for example, where we were talking in terms of our stepmomming, right? Our step parenting, where some of these stepchildren had triggered some of these emotional needs inside of us. And also coming full circle to how she said, you know what? After speaking with you, I recognized how that abandonment wound caused me to minimize the red flags in the relationship I had with that stalker. And I was like, of course, right? Because we utilize our outward relationships, our intimate relationships with a partner, to try to fill that void that we didn't get from our parents. And everyone's abandonment wound is different. Everyone's void, we call it something slightly different. It's slightly different for each of us. And for her, it was needing attention, and it was needing to feel important. So lo and behold, who comes along but a guy who love bombs her. And instead of seeing this as controlling or a red flag, she sees it as, oh my God, someone finally sees how important I am and is giving me all the attention and love that I so desperately crave. And of course, cut to years of police reports and, restraining orders and whatnot. But the thing is, that's the thing. And some are not as extreme. I get this. Some relationships are not as extreme as hers, but we all have that, where we have that void, we have that abandonment wound, we have that emotional need, and someone comes along and makes us feel a certain way, and we minimize the red flags, or we ignore the red flags, or we rationalize them away because they make us feel so good. And if you've heard me say, When you're dating, you don't look for someone to make you feel a certain way. You should be looking for, does that person's actions align with their words, right? That's what we should be looking for when we're out there in the dating world. And so you should be second guessing yourself, because you need to do the inner work to feel that abandonment wound yourself, to fill that void yourself, because you're going to keep making these unhealthy relationship patterns over and over again, and that's going to deplete your self-esteem, going to deplete your self-worth, because the more you do it, the less you can trust yourself, the less you're going to feel secure. And you have to do the inner work, and it begins with utilizing. You don't have to spend years learning this, like my friend who spent years, although she is happily remarried and great relationship, and me too, right? But what I'm telling you is, you don't have to spend years in therapy. You don't have to spend years figuring it out. What I teach people is the 5-step intentional, proven, systematic process, so that you can identify that abandonment wound quickly, get to the root of it, heal the root of it, and then move forward quickly. And it is a multi-modality system. I'm not going to lie about that, but it is healing in a much quicker, much faster way. It teaches you how to regulate yourself, how to heal that inner child and reparent yourself in a way so that you're not spending years questioning yourself, second guessing yourself. And I've actually had people tell me on our first session consultation, where we're not even worried, just that first session, like, oh my God, I've done more with you than I did, with years in this therapy I was in. Yeah, I was like, yeah. So it is bold, it is challenging, it is quick, but if you're like me and you don't want to spend years wasting time, and you're ready to move forward faster, would love to tell you how to do that. So one of the things that I have for you is a free resource where we deep dive into the 3 major keys that are really necessary to find inner peace after divorce. So if you want that free resource, I'd love to get that to you, and just shoot me a DM, or just, hey, shout me out here, and I'll hand that all over to you. All right, we'll talk to you soon.